What's up, cleaning bosses? Welcome back to the podcast, the number one place giving you all of the resources to help you become the ultimate cleaning boss. And as every episode is, today is brought to you by Nine Media Creative, a marketing agency, full service marketing agency designed to give you business results through social media, and also the Cleaning Boss app. So go to mycleaningboss.app and start your free trial. Uh, Today, before we got a really special guest today, so we're gonna get this intro out of the way really quick and bring him on because I'm super excited to have him in the house. But yeah, let's get into the podcast.
Look, this for all my boss babe. Go do your boss babe. Loving how you boss babe. This for all my dreamers and my doers and all the entrepreneurs. Just believe in what you're doing and pursuing them. This for all my boss babe. Go do your boss babe.
All right, cleaning bosses. Today's guest is extremely special. I'm honored to have him on the podcast. This man left a career in pharmaceutical sales to go all in on his cleaning business. And within a year, he was making over $30,000 a month in recurring revenue for his business, using his expertise in sales that he got from his pharmaceutical sales experience. So I can't wait to pick his brain and see what kind of value he can help us provide here on the podcast today. You guys, I need y'all on your best behavior. Show this person how the love and support that comes from the Cleaning Boss family, man. And welcome one of my favorite people in this industry, Brandon Orr, man. How you doing today, man?
The boss. What's up, man? What's up, DJ? What's up, boss fam?
Uh,
Appreciate it, man. Definitely humbled, and I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely, man. We're so grateful to have you here today. I had the pleasure of running into you at the CBN conference 2024 earlier this year. Had the honor of sharing the stage with you, and this is definitely one of the coolest brothers I've ever met. So, thank you so much again for being on the podcast. And just to get started, man, I don't like to go straight into business when I talk to people. I kind of like to see how things are going. How's your health and well-being doing? Are you okay? How are the seven closest people to you in your life? How is their health and well-being? Generally, yeah, just how are you doing, man?
Man, that's a great question. That's the first time I actually got asked that on any interview, bro. So
It's what
I
matters, right?
appreciate.
That's what you really care about. Those are the things you really care about. Like there's usually like
Yeah,
5 to 7 people that you actually like really you care if they're about their health and well-being. That usually affects how you are as a person, so that's kind of what I
definitely.
like to start with.
Definitely, bro. And I'm glad you asked because I'm a self-proclaimed like mental health advocate, bro. So I'm
I
I'm
love
big
it.
into health and wellness, especially mental health, man, especially amongst, men of color with all the challenges that we face and things that we got to face out in the world, man, and still be able to perform at a high level. Um,
Absolutely.
no matter what type of day you having, no matter what's going on in the family, no matter what's going on, upstairs in your head, you still gotta be able to perform and perform at a high level. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
glad you
absolutely.
asked, but I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I got the family is good, wife and two girls. We all good, man. Preparing for a big move. So moving back to Chicago. We're in Dallas right now.
So that's a big move. Okay, what
So moving back home, man. That's where it all started. So Dallas has
nice.
been good to us, and now it's time to get back to our home territory and get it in up there. So
I like it. I like it, man. That's beautiful. I know that's be a big change for everybody moving to such the large distance. So that's always. I know that's gonna be an event, man. That sounds stressful. I can't. I'm not excited. I know I'm gonna have to do it eventually myself when I make my way back to New Orleans. But so I got the Seattle to New Orleans trip, but
hmm
I'm not looking forward to it. I know it's gonna be stressful, so I don't envy you right now.
yeah, stressful it is. Yeah, 100%.
So you were a drug dealer?
Yep, definitely drug dealer,
The
man.
license to sell drugs? What
Had a
the
license to
hell
sell.
would make you start a cleaning business in general when you had the license to sell
Man,
drugs, man? You had the golden ticket. What would make
yeah,
you get into the cleaning business?
yeah, yeah, man. It was interesting, bro. Like corporate is interesting, and pharma is interesting in itself. I won't even go down that rabbit hole, but there's a lot of just like on the streets, man. It's a lot of unethical things that's being done on the streets, and it's a lot of unethical things that's being in corporate. As it
People
relates
have learned
to
that.
exactly as it relates to drugs. So,
Mhm.
um, but no, man, it treated me well. I learned, I take the meat and leave the bones. I get what I get from it, from the industry, and I utilize it to benefit myself and my business and my family.
Like,
So I lost everything business related, as it relates to the cleaning business when 2020 came, because we moved to Dallas in 2019, right? And then right after that, COVID came. So I started out as primarily residential cleaning.
oh, okay, I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, so I didn't, we about 95% residential and 5% commercial. We had maybe a handful of commercial accounts in Chicago, but I didn't know how to build systems or any of that. All of that came just off of me knowing how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So when COVID came, well, not even when COVID came, but when we moved from Chicago to Texas to Dallas, I didn't really have a system set up. I just told people like, "Hey, this is your account. This is your account," and I just thought people would do, what we all expected them to do.
Clean, yeah. Actually, you go in there and clean, right?
Man, no SOPs in place, man. Not like really no system, nothing, like nothing in place, man. So of course that didn't last too long. So but
Yeah,
it
it's
did
hard.
feel good to, yeah, it did feel good for the moment to have that, that income coming in. I'm 1,000 miles away and still got a, operation back home. It felt good at that moment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
I know that does feel amazing. The moment you can actually like set
mhm,
something up and you can kind of see it moving and see it moving. Like it's kind of like it's your baby.
mhm,
Everyone refers to your business as your baby, and like the second you get to see it kick around and move, even if it's shit in its pants, you're like, that's my kid. I love it. It's a great thing. It's
exactly.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that reminds me of kind of my COVID story a little bit because during COVID I lost 70% of my business, and
Yep.
we were doing some serious business at the time. So this really hurt. This is like our first year where we're kind of projected to do seven figures for the first year was 2020. We're expected to kind of just hit a million.
Right.
And we service, most of our clients were gyms. 70% of our clients were gyms. And those are the
Right.
first things to go. They snatched
Yeah.
out from us. So overnight we went from, we lost 700 grand overnight, like in revenue overnight.
Mhm.
And so it
Yeah.
was tough. It was super tough, and we had all these employees and all this overhead and these bills to pay. We had
Mhm.
vans and trucks all over the place, and so we had to completely change our business model, get rid of a lot of stuff, get rid of a lot of dead weight, and run a way more lean business, especially as far as SOPs are concerned. We really had to shave a lot of that stuff down because
Yeah.
we had to find all of that fat and all of the extra activities and how to streamline things to save time to really get us back into something profitable so we can start to grow again. And but yeah, but COVID was tough for cleaners. Everyone thinks that it was like great, and it was great after a little while. But yeah, people think it was just 100% hunky dory for us cleaners that we all just became super millionaires during COVID, and there was a lot of
Yeah.
that. There were a lot of people who did really well during
Yeah.
COVID. But yeah, for most of us who are already in business, when the world stops, that's gonna shake. It shook everything for me. So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And I'm glad to hear that, that you bounced back from that, because a lot of people didn't, especially in the cleaning, industry, didn't know how to pivot. And I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that's one of the
absolutely.
best traits you can have in business is being able to pivot.
And
So
I think that's a benefit for like being like, the type of entrepreneurs and coming from places like where we come from, Chicago, New Orleans, and seeing what it's really like to like not have a shot. And when we feel like we got a little bit of a shot, we take a nap. We bounce
mhm,
back. Like
absolutely.
we've seen failure. We've seen what the bottom looks like. So being there don't really phase us. So
Yep.
like when I hit like rock bottom in my business, I was still making more money than I ever made in my life,
Right.
like before being a business owner. So it was
Right.
like I had mentally fell off. Like I was like, I'm still cooking. Like
Right.
so,
For real.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
having that ability to kind of bounce back, that resilience is key in
Mhm.
business. Because
It
a lot
really
of
is.
it's just gonna be smooth sailing when you get started. And I'm gonna start a business, and and then I'm gonna change my life, and everything's gonna go great. And they don't realize that it's more headache than you having a job where the stress is on somebody else when you get to clock in. But
Serious.
everything, something goes wrong, somebody mouths off to your client or something, something happens. That's all on your back. So you
Yep.
end up thinking about it all the time, stressing about it all the time, and it's just as it's just as involved as having a 9 to 5.
Yep.
Um,
100%.
Common misconception.
100%. Yep. 100%. I'm
So
glad you said that too.
Yeah. So for cleaning in particular, why cleaning? Why cleaning in particular? Why not go into lawn care or drop shipping or SMMA? Or why not any of those other avenues? Why clean? Why did cleaning stick out to you?
Yeah, man. So when I was in college, I was a leasing agent. So I went to school at Southern University in Baton Rouge. So
Okay.
I got
Yeah.
some
Yes.
experience
Yes.
in the
Yes.
Louisiana.
The boot. The boot. Yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. My
yeah,
grandfather went to Southern.
yeah. So I spent some time in the boot, but so I was a leasing agent, and the vendors, the painters, I saw everybody come in to do the turnarounds on the apartments, on the units. The painters, the handyman, the carpet cleaners, the actual cleaning company coming in. And one company, guy named Bishop Raymond Capville. I'm a shout him out every single time I get the chance down in Baton Rouge. But Bishop Raymond Capville
Shout out to
and his
Bishop.
wife, they were one of our vendors who cleaned the apartments. So, and they did really great work. Yeah, he did great work. He used to always come in there. I lease apartments because I like commission, right? I like sales. It
Mm-hmm.
was sort of like real estate to me, and I like the commission. So he would always come in. He knew I went to Southern, and he would just drop little gems on me, like, "Man, Brandon, I know you're going to get your degree, but think about entrepreneurship. Think about running your own business. Think about he used to always, drop little gems on me, and it always stuck with me. And then
Mm-hmm.
one day I heard him, I heard him saying, I think he was upset about something or whatever, but we probably was late paying him. Probably knowing, you know what I mean. That with the residential apartment thing, that's like one of the most common things. But and he and I were talking, and that was when we actually got a chance to actually, build a relationship. So
Yeah.
he was like, "Man, I run six figures with this business." I'm like, "Really?" I didn't. I had no clue. I was like, I had no clue.
You
They
can
don't
do
teach you
that.
that in college. I'm in college learning something totally different, and my major is business management. I didn't learn anything about the service based industry at all. The gentleman who came in, who had a painting company, he used to come in with his overalls and his tie and his shirt and his, you know, real sharp young guy. Like I think he was younger than me, maybe, and had a painting company. I'm like, damn, you got a painting company, really? Like people like really got the business going on. Um, so I told Mr. Raymond, I'm like, man, when I graduate, I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that. So it just stuck with me ever since then. And when I graduated and went back home to Chicago, teamed up with my sister, and I used to watch this guy on YouTube way back in the day. Um, I forget his name, but he used to always talk about property preservation, like
Mm,
foreclosure cleanup. Like that was a big thing back then. So
yeah,
that's what we started the company as back then because there was a lot of foreclosures going on around that time. So that wasn't really scalable and it wasn't really the type of business that I kind of wanted to run. So, and then I had partners. I had my sister and one of my frat brothers as my partner. We all had 9 to 5, so it took up too much time and it kind of dwindled down. But when I relaunched it as just straight residential house cleaning after I relaunched it and
yeah.
just got out there.
It reminds me of kind of like how I got started, at least on the YouTube side. Like I forget that cleaning wasn't like a janitorial service. I stumbled into that exact model. I tried everything before that. Like a lot of people on my from my channel know that I did some post construction cleaning. I do post construction cleaning, and that was one of the first things I focused on. But even further back than that, before I even started like recording or documenting the process, I used to watch Keith Kelfis on YouTube. Right, I think he's known for landscaping nowadays, but before he did landscaping very seriously, he was a window cleaner. He was a window
Right,
cleaner. And I'm watching, I'm looking up for the cheapest things to start because like most people know my story. I was homeless. So I'm looking for damn near free things to start.
right,
Like it needs to not
right,
cost me anything. And so it was, I think I may have cleaned somewhere and got like, a couple $100. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna just get some window, a bucket and a scrub and a squeegee so I can at least clean some windows and make some money. And that was kind of how I started. And the more I looked into the different types of cleaning on top of window cleaning, I went into janitorial. And then I think during a post-construction job, I almost fell off a roof trying to clean a window. And then from that moment on, I was like, I don't touch windows.
I'm
So
out.
I was like, I not touch windows. No one in my company touches windows because it
Yeah,
just me. So so now we outsource that. But yeah, that was kind of how I even stumbled in, because once you're in the service industry, you're looking at all these other services and you start to notice
right.
that people are making money and moving in this space. But yes, but speak in terms of education, like how did you go about looking for education to learn things about this business and to educate yourself? Where did you get that stuff from? Because you did say you went to school for business management, which I did too. I went to school first for electrical engineering, and then I transferred schools and went for business management. I didn't finish either one, but yeah, I didn't learn much about how to actually run a business in business school, and that was the same way for me. So how do you go about getting educated in this business?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. YouTube, bro. Like, so YouTube, I reached out to Mr. Raymond. Again, I let him know, hey, I'm back home in Chicago. I'm ready to get this thing started. What do I need? So he like emailed me some documents that I needed, like, some higher end documents, just the basic documents of
Mm,
what he had for his cleaning business. And, I appreciate that to this day. I still appreciate that. But um, I was on YouTube, man. That college didn't really teach me, how to run a business, even being a business management major. Um, Everything that I wanted to learn, I learned from YouTube. I didn't learn, in college. But what college did teach me was, um, it taught me how to kind of work with teams, work with others. It taught me. I was very introverted. I'm still kind of introverted. A lot of people don't think I am. My wife don't even think I'm an introvert because I could walk up to a stranger and spark up a conversation and things like that. But I was very introverted. It wasn't until college where I kind of broke out of my shell, like my last few years of college.
yeah.
Um, so college taught me other things, like non-tangible things that I kind of use in different settings. But as far as business and practical knowledge, like the practical everyday knowledge that you need, just the basic stuff of business, I learned that on YouTube, especially in as it relates to the cleaning business industry as a whole. So watching, cleaning business videos. I only watched a few people. AJ Simmons was everywhere on that thing. You were on there back then. Yeah, I stayed with a few people. I kind of narrowed it down. I didn't like watch a lot of people. I just stuck to kind of people who I related to and people who were at the place that I wanted to go. So that's pretty much it, man. And I did some time in network marketing. I think network marketing is good if you really want to, learn how to hustle. I already knew how to hustle, but network marketing actually pushes you to that next level of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I was in network marketing for a while, learn how to build teams. Because you got to recruit and do all that type of stuff. You got to do cold sale, direct sales, and it's uncomfortable, but if you could get past that, man, the sky's the limit. And that's what I still tell people today. Like, you don't have to cold call. you know that's only one way of getting business for your cleaning business. There's only one route.
One
But what
system. That one system.
yeah, it's so many different ways to get it. But cold calling, it's not just to get business for your cleaning business. It's actually to help you to become more comfortable with talking to people. It helps you to become, it builds you character. It helps you to, when you're in person with somebody, the conversation won't even be that hard now because you
Yeah,
you
exactly.
spoke to people,
You're
strangers over the phone before. So now this in-person interaction, that's nothing. You walking into a facility or a building, marketing your cleaning services is nothing now. That's a piece of cake because you talked on the phone to a total stranger, and that's an uncomfortable conversation. You know, so
it's a workout. Like it's a. I tell people all the time, you got to exercise that muscle. Like if you sound nervous talking about your business, it may not be because you don't necessarily believe in your business. You could just be nervous because you haven't talked about your business that much. Like if I've said the same spiel about my business a thousand times, when I go to say it to the next person, it's going to come out like fluid, and then it's easier for me to give off that I believe in this thing that I'm selling, because I've said this a million times. That part just gets easier and easier. And everyone, that fear of getting started or failing those first few times, really keeps people out of it. But I'm like, that's the part you have to go through. Is you have to push through those difficult times, and go through the ugly messing up phase for you to actually gain those skills. It's just a muscle. You work it out like any other muscle group on the body. It's just exercise.
Perfect way, man. Perfect way to put it. It's exactly what it is. That's
Hmm.
exactly.
Absolutely. Let's see, where were we in our question? Oh, yeah, you were talking about YouTube. Yeah, YouTube University. That's another thing I preach too, is go to YouTube University. If there's something that you do not know, it's probably available on YouTube. Like everything that I've ever learned is on my channel, and like most
Mm-hmm.
of the things that I've even the things that aren't on my channel, all the things that I'm thinking about doing is probably something I got from somewhere on YouTube. I definitely
For real.
only thing I learned in business school was that it was a business. Like I
Right.
realized that they were making a good bunch of money, and I was like, "This is a solid
It's
ass business plan. Y'all got
for
it
real.
going on." Yeah,
Like maybe I should start a college. Maybe I
I was
should
like,
start.
maybe I should start a school. That's literally all the
Hey,
talk. Maybe I should start a school, because y'all are
yeah,
raking in the dough right now
yeah,
on my
absolutely, man.
soul. Because I learned, I think the most valuable thing I learned was, I guess, thinking through a business plan. I think that was like the only thing that was of any like
Yeah,
somewhat value. And I didn't like, since then I haven't written a business plan since college, but it got me
right,
to like get used to thinking through a full process, right? Like, because
right.
if you make an official business plan, there's full processes and full
Hmm.
like full like prediction models and stuff like that for revenue and things like that. And so it forces you to
Hmm.
think from the beginning to the end, and
Yeah,
how you're gonna get there. And so I think thinking that way was kind of one of the biggest things I was able to take away from college. But in terms of business, I've learned everything in business that I needed to know from YouTube or from trial and error, and just getting out here and getting after it.
yep,
Uh,
hundred
that's
percent.
Yep,
Yep.
that's how it is,
And
man. I
meeting
know I've
meeting
been saying.
people. Yeah, I left that out too. And meeting people who attended conferences and
Mhm.
networking. So things like that. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Using your network is using your actual immediate network. I usually tell people that's your gimme. Like, you want to get your business off the ground, just getting off the ground, you probably know enough people, like you've met enough people in your life that someone works somewhere that could use you. Someone's in a
right.
building that could use you, and you exhaust that network, and that's the easiest thing, because you're not selling to strangers at that point. You're selling to someone who knows
Right.
you. You can get a reference, someone who's like, oh yeah, I've actually met this guy. I went to school with this guy. Like, yeah, thank you
Yep.
for coming. At least give him, give opportunity to give us a quote. And but yeah, exhaust your network first. If you're just getting started, that's an easy way to at least get some of that starter revenue going in your business.
Yep.
Because
Alley oop.
that first account is usually the hardest. Did you find that those first accounts for people?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's it.
learning. Yeah, a lot of learning.
So let's see. My next question is, so we went over learning. Oh, yeah. The reason why you're on this damn podcast today, man, is you put a huge emphasis on sales. And this is really what draws me to you as a businessman, because we kind of speak this same language of sales. You come from pharmaceutical sales. I come from B2B sales for cell phone companies, Verizon and AT&T. So in all sales, you usually have those same sales training. You hear the same kind of verbiage, kind of like about closing and overcoming objections. Those are things that are true throughout sales for every industry. And so when you hear someone else talking about that, or someone else who's sold or had a sales job in multiple different industries, we all kind of sound the same. We all kind of like
Right.
we can spot it a mile away. I'm like, okay, that guy knows what it is. That guy knows
Right.
something. So, that's one of the things that attracted me to you in the very beginning. But I've noticed that you've kind of put this big emphasis on sales. I don't emphasize sales enough because I feel like it scares people away. But because then you so afraid
It
to actually do
does.
work, do some work. But you put a big emphasis on sales, which I have a huge respect for it. So why? But why do you feel like you put such a big emphasis on sales and that aspect of business?
Yeah, and you know what? Likewise, DJ, I was actually attracted to you in the sense of as soon as we linked up, it was just natural, man. It was just natural. And see, that's what sales does. Just like I said a moment ago, it helps you with your in-person interpersonal skills, right? Because you're forced to adapt to a certain situation, right? Especially when you face to face with people. So I've been in situations before Pharma. I sold SaaS software, for 10 years. And, I was in some boardrooms with some big dogs, like heavies, who are running, two, three, $400 million companies. And here I am as a, 28, 29-year-old kid in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They're already thinking, how can you help me? Right. So being in those uncomfortable situations and having to build value and build it quick, it kind of taught me something. Right. So you really had to build value, find a way to help this guy. And you have to be able to communicate that in a polished way, not just in a polished way, but also in a way to where he can understand it, because this ain't his area.
Yeah.
So it's like, those are the parts to it. And it may be a challenge in the beginning, but just like you said earlier, when you lift in weights, you do it so much, it becomes muscle memory. So when I figured it out that the cleaning business industry was pretty much the same as the corporate industry, what I had been doing, for 10 years, that's when the light bulb went off. I'm like, oh shit, this is just like at work. So
Oh yeah.
I put my emphasis on sales. I meet people and show them how I could bring value as a cleaning company, um, and earn their trust and win the business. Find a way to beat out everybody else. So that's where my strength was. And, the situations that I've been able to, blessed to be in, over my 10-year career in sales. I've sold in my territory at one job. I was over like 21 states, so I traveled for sales. So I had a job where they fly me out, put me on a plane, sometimes first class, and I'm going, all over the country to sell. So at that time, I had no clue that it was preparing me for my own operation. I had no clue. I just thought I wanted to move up the ranks. I knew at some point I did want to, own my own company, like seriously and write out, right? But I just didn't know when that time was coming. So I just
Yeah.
thought I was just going to move up the ranks, save a lot of money and take a lot of the money and then start the business, right? Because I always did something on the side, whether it was like selling life insurance or stuff like that. I always had a hustle on the side. I never just had just a job, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I always had that insurance plan on the side. So, but yeah, man. So that's how it kind of evolved into, into a sales sort of powerhouse with me, because it's like no sales, you don't have a business if you don't have sales. And if you look around you now, even on me now, we got cell phones. I guarantee you open up a cell phone, you go on any app, whether it's Facebook, something, within 2 minutes, you're going to see somebody trying to sell you something. Sales is everywhere around us, you know everywhere you go to church, it's sales. It's still sales. It's, you know what I mean, it's still sales. They want you to be a part of their congregation, right? They're selling you on why you should be a part of this congregation, right? And it's not a bad thing. That's just the truth. That's
Oh,
the
that's
reality.
what
That's
it
what
is.
it is. Politicians, it's sales. Here's why you should vote for me. Even the military, hey, come join us. You get these benefits, you get the VA loan package, it's a sale, it's a transaction. It's
And
a
even in that,
transaction.
there's ways to do it. Like even if you're recruiting, like there's different things you can, depending on who you're talking to. If you're good at sales, then you're able to pull that information from them, and you get to give them a solution that fits them. So if they're passionate about bettering themselves or bettering their life, then you're selling this military recruitment or like this spot in the military, then you can appeal to that, like, hey, this is one of the best places for that. Or if their appeal is to, I want to protect my country, then you get to appeal to that once you find out those things. And I think
Exactly.
that's a big part of sales is being good at getting that information and finding out where you can add value in adding value to that person and using your solution to add value to that person. It's definitely
100%.
one of the things that I absolutely love about sales. I was deeply indoctrinated into the sales culture of America, like out here in Seattle. My very first job was with an authorized retailer for AT&T, and their sales training program was intense. Like it was like, and I'm glad I kind of had that thrown into the ringer type of sales environment to get into, because it was really sink or swim. You needed your commissions, like
Mhm.
your hourly pay wasn't really nothing. You really had to go and get those commissions in order to work. And so I
Yep.
mean, anytime I do anything, I'm balls to the wall with it. I am all out. If when it was sales, it was sales. I went to watching every sales movie. I went into listening to like Brian Tracy CDs and
Mhm.
all the top salespeople in the country and the famous salespeople. I started watching like Boiler Room over and over again, and Thank You for Smoking, and all the sales movies.
Mhm.
I got into it, and I really really studied sales, and and just like you, I had all those different sales jobs, selling insurance and doing uh, Cutco knives and Kirby vacuums
Yep.
and Cox cable, and I've done all of that. Like as a sale, I've
Yep.
done door for all of that stuff. I've done cold calling for all of that stuff, and so what it really did was build up that callus for that no, because you start to realize that
Yeah.
when you're in sales, you start to learn really quickly that it's a numbers game, and so I think most people underestimate the volume you have to do in sales in order to get results. And then
Mhm.
when you work directly in sales, you get over that pretty quick because you gotta be making a lot of contacts and all that. You know that it's just a certain number of no's until you get a yes, and you're just working to that yes. And so once you're in that mode where you can just phase out the no's or overcome some objections and turn some no's into yeses, and you start to see the amount of revenue you can generate, especially for someone else, it's a huge. That was one of the main motivators. Was I was selling for AT&T and I was killing it. I'm pretty sure that I started their B2B program. I'm like I don't even think they were selling like I screwed up the entire commission structure because they like you every 5 phones you sell, they would give you an extra percentage of commission or whatever, another 5% of commission.
Right.
And I ended up going to like when those Nextels came out, those Nextel walkie-talkie phones. Ended up going to all these trucking companies and all the people who had remote workers, and they would buy 30 at a time, 30 phones at a time. And so
Mhm.
my boss didn't know what to do. He was like, I can't pay you this. Like, I can't pay you the commission on this. I don't know what to do. I'm like, nah, run me my check, bro. Like, I'm gonna need
Right. Right.
like run me my check. And then I realized I was like, I could be doing this for myself. I could sell anything. Like if
Yeah.
sales, if I can talk to people, if I communicate my value, if I can figure out what it is that they want, and I can match it with a solution that I have, I can sell anything. And so I fell in love with sales from that moment on, and it's been that big for me, just as big for me. Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, like, I absolutely love sales. It's been sales is the lifeblood of any business. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
The lifeblood of any business, and I think it can keep a business alive even if you have a bad product.
Yeah.
But what kind of things
Seriously.
do you feel like sales has helped with within your business? Has it done anything in particular where something else may have been falling off?
Yeah, I want to take a step back because you said something very important, and I
Yeah,
don't want to skip over that. But you said, it's a numbers game, and
yeah,
I wanted to take a step back because I just said the same thing to a few people I coach.
hmm
It's a numbers game, and I also feel like it's not sales that people are afraid of; it's rejection.
facts,
That's what they are truly afraid of is the
facts.
rejection piece. They're not afraid of the sale. Who could be afraid of the sale? You get paid to sell.
Yeah,
You get a commission, you get a chunk
ain't
of it.
afraid of making money. I know that much.
Right. So how could you be afraid of that? So really it's not the sale, it's the fear of being rejected. That's what it is. So if you could get hit, if you get in the boxing ring and you're able to get punched without losing the fight, then you're a winner. That's
Yep.
what I tell them. If you're able to get back up, you're a winner. You can't get in the boxing ring. No, I don't think nobody has ever won a match without getting hit at least one time.
Mm,
If it is, I gotta Google it and find out. But that should be in the Guinness World Record. But you can't get in the game and expect not to get hit. That's just not how it works. That ain't how it works. But if you rebound from that and you're strong enough to take those punches and take those no's, man, that one yes, that next yes could be fuck. You know what I mean? That
yeah.
next yes, dude. That next yes. I took no's. When I switched over to commercial, we landed a couple of accounts. Just me just playing around with the business, and then it was like no. And then one of our biggest no's, I was pissed off because the guy ghosted me for like 2 months. But then it turned into like a $7,200 a month. Yes, I didn't give up. That was one account. So I think that's the piece of people being afraid of rejection. And I came from an era As kids, we used to go chase girls. I don't think they do that no more. I think everything is online now. We used to
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
the mall.
Gone are the days. But I remember them days, man. When
Yeah,
you
you go with your
try to
boys,
get
you
that
go to the
number, you know what
mall,
I'm saying?
you
Yeah,
chase girls, and you get nose, and that's some true character right there. Because you got to build up the guts in front of your boys
in
to
your
go try
face
to talk
rejection
to
is
a girl.
different.
And then your boy's gonna laugh at you if you know what I mean.
Yep,
But you move and you go on to the next. That's the era I grew up in. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and it built character. It built interpersonal skills. So and
Yeah.
it's the same thing when you're going after these companies, man. You some may say yes, some may say no. And if they say no, so what? Move on to the next one. So it's a million something companies out here, and probably 25% of them make good fits for us,
Yep. Yeah, for you
bro.
in particular, yeah.
Like we have a huge market share, huge, huge upside. So that's what I tell people, man. And the biggest deal that some people close is being married. And I'm like, I was telling a guy, I'm like, bro, what you mean you don't like sales? You're married. That was probably one of the biggest deals you ever
That was
closed
the
in your
biggest one
life.
you had. Yeah, that was the biggest one.
You convinced her to spend the rest of her life with you. That's a big sale.
Yeah, but she don't
you
have
know?
another one of those. She don't get a second life. You said that was a hard sell. I
Right.
guess.
It's not a dress rehearsal.
Yeah,
So I think people overthink it. A lot of people overthink it, man. And that's what I do. Just try to bring practical knowledge, into sales to just get people to not overthink it, not overcomplicate it. It's just a
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a transaction. That's
Exactly,
all.
exactly that. And on that note, I want to bring some value to the audience and give them some help with some sales. Um, Firstly, is there anything like right off the bat that you can tell people, like give some advice with handling that rejection? Like how do they handle, if they say, if they're the type of person who, or just, I guess, initially out of the bat don't like the idea of trying to call someone, and their biggest fear is calling someone and them cussing them out and hanging up in their face. How do you coach someone through having the fear of that getting hung up on, or I upset this person?
Yeah, I think you just have to detach your emotions from it, first of all. Don't be emotionally tied to the outcome of whatever happens on that call. Even if they say yes, don't be emotionally tied to it, because then you'll get comfortable and then you'll stop going after more deals.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and we all been there. I've been there.
Oh
I
yeah.
just had a lot of deals though. I was like, all right, I could chill for a minute. I could
Yep.
chill for a month or two. I work really hard, and I'll probably take a month off or something like that.
Hmm.
But even now I'm learning, like, I can't even do that now. I'm not at that stage yet, to
Sure.
where I could do that. I am, but now I put more pressure on myself.
Yeah,
So
it's there's a certain level of self accountability that comes with being a business owner. That for the people who want to grow and want to get to keep pushing the new heights, they always have
mhm,
that level of accountability, or that self reflection, where, like, I know if I want to get to where I am, I still can't stop working, even though I'm at a place where other people look at and they want to be. I know that I still got a lot of work to do. So, yeah,
100%.
definitely in that same boat.
Yeah,
Uh,
100%. Yeah, but that's all. Just don't be emotionally attached to the outcome. Do your best to separate your emotions, and it's business. So just with that mindset of, like you said, it's a numbers game. How many calls did you make? You know, Maybe you made 20 calls today. You make 20 calls today. I guarantee you, not all 20 are going to hang up on you. I was just doing live cold calls with some of my mentees on the phone.
yeah,
One person hung up on me, but the very next day we found a very good lead.
yeah.
Very good lead. They had just got rid of their cleaning company, and the girl who I was talking to on the phone, she was the one doing the cleaning, and I made her tell me she hated it. So, you know, uh, one day you get hung up on, and but you rarely get hung up
People
on
love
in
you.
our industry. You don't. It's not like that, man. So
Yeah,
it's
no, a
either
lot
a
of
no
people have a
or
fear
we're
that's like
fine.
irrational.
Yeah, man. So, but no. So I would just, and keep going, and also what I used to do, man. I don't do it as much as I used to, but man, I would write down my goals, and I would have it right on a whiteboard right
I was
next to me.
literally about to just get into that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
having
would
those.
I would write it right on so I could visualize it. So anytime I hear a no, it's like, well, I can't stop because I got this goal that I'm trying to hit. Every time I look up, you know, I see this goal, and if that needle is not moving, then I know I got to keep working. Or I have to reevaluate, is there an area in my sales process or in my talk track, that is preventing me from getting appointments, or that is preventing me from, maybe it's you calling on the wrong damn people. Maybe it's you're not calling the right type of companies. Maybe it's you don't have the right tonality on the phone. Maybe you sound too salesy. Maybe you need to role play with somebody else. Or maybe you just need to watch Glenn Ross, or one of the movies, get deeply involved in it, especially in the beginning when you're the sole salesperson. You're the sole salesperson in the beginning. You don't have a regional sales manager or a sales director who you could pay $100,000, to go bring in your business. So it's us,
Oh
and
yeah,
even if you buy leads, bro, even if you buy leads and appointments and all of this stuff, you still got to learn how to close the deal.
supposed to do.
You still got to learn. And then what happens is when you learn how to close, and once you increase your closing, ratio, now your cost per lead goes down. Because now before maybe you had to buy, 10 leads to close one, but now you got better at sales and better at closing. Now for every 10 leads, you close like four. Now you just, you know what I mean? So
That customer acquisition cost is driving down. Yeah, exactly.
exactly. You see what I mean? So that's why you need to learn it. I can't, man, I can't, I truly can't believe how many people I talk to that are just afraid of sales.
I tell people, if you're afraid of no, if you are afraid of no and you're afraid of rejection, your why is not big enough. Like that means you need to go back and reevaluate your why. Because if
Yeah.
someone telling you no, one person telling you no can stop you, then you aren't doing this for a good enough reason. Because
Yep.
it should be worth it. It should be worth, like, we're talking about trying to get to a 1% lifestyle, like to where
Yep.
you are the head of a business, you are the CEO of a company, you make your money under your own terms, you have enough money to provide for yourself and your family. Not many people get to do that. I know everyone on social media is acting like they do, but most people
Right.
don't live like that. They don't have it like that. So if this is something that you actually want, you're gonna have to do some things that people like, get into some uncomfortable situations that most people aren't willing to go through, and that's that large amount of rejection. That's most people aren't willing to face that large amount of rejection. And if it scares you, the rejection scares you, you need a bigger reason to be doing it. Because, like, I don't care if someone tells me no, because I'm doing this for my kids. I don't It's worth you telling me no. I can go through a million no's if I know that one of those yeses is going to help feed my kids. Then I don't care if you tell me no. Like, I'm probably going to try to turn your no into a yes too, and if you still say no, I'm just going to go on to the next person. It doesn't matter, because I'm not doing this to hear yes from you. I'm doing this to feed my kids. So yeah, it's your why has to be big enough. Has to be big enough. You can't fear rejection. You got to be doing this, like, it has to be worth it for you. There has to be something in it that's worth it for you, that'll make you push past these tough times. Because rejection in sales isn't, like, it's tough, but it's not even the hardest thing you're gonna come across in building this business. Like, so,
No,
like,
it's not.
there's some scarier stuff out here. There's some sharks in
Oh,
these
yeah.
waters for real. So, like, that's
Yeah.
and sales being the lifeblood of your business, it is hard, but it's just one of the first things you got to overcome, because there's plenty of more demons to slay. There's plenty more things to overcome.
100%. 100%.
See, I like that. But yeah, sales is a huge part of business. I'm glad we got to chat about that a little bit. Another thing people kind of talk to me about, or tell me is a limiting factor, is that I don't have enough capital to start with. I don't have any money to start my cleaning business. So you haven't been a successful cleaning business. How much capital did you start with? How much money did you have to bankroll in order to get this business going?
Man, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was under $1,000 though. Yeah,
Under a
it was.
thousand dollars.
Yeah, it was under a
I
thousand.
can guarantee you have at least $1,000 worth of dumb shit in your house right now.
For real.
You
Absolutely.
got, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around 500. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 500, but I didn't have so I didn't have a vacuum. So I didn't so my story is kind of hilarious, bro. So I didn't realize that I needed a vacuum until after I told you I started out in residential. So I show up, I got my towels and my bucket and all of that. And then the client asked me about a vacuum. I'm like, oh shit, I don't even have a vacuum. So my girl at the time, my wife, but she was we weren't married at the time, man. So she had this hot pink vacuum, bro. I'm gonna post this picture too tomorrow.
You
She
have
had
to. You absolutely
hot
have to.
pink vacuum, bro.
Hot, hot
So I'm
pink back.
like, frig it. I'm gonna just use her vacuum because I'm not buying a new vacuum right now. Until I start getting some clients, I got to know if this thing gonna work before I go out here and spend all this money. So, um, here I go, big tall 6'2" self with a hot pink vacuum, bro, going to houses to clean.
I
Hilarious,
love it.
man.
I
And
love it. I love
what's
it.
funny is my wife and I, we still talk about that to this day, bro. We still talk about the hot
It's
pink
those
vacuum.
times, man. It's those times. I was about to ask you about it, like some of the hard times. It's kind of what I'm getting into next. Is some of
Yeah.
the hard times, but I remember those. I remember those days for me, and I started at even lower than I didn't even have $500. So my first jobs I did with vacuums from people that I knew. Like I would have to like, yo, you got a vacuum in your house? Let me grab that right quick and pretend like I was using it to clean to clean my apartment or something. And I go and clean the job. I didn't even know of backpack vacuums. Like I had
Me
seen them
neither.
before. I didn't even know they
Me neither.
existed for real until I
Yeah.
got hired for a high dusting job. And they're like, "Well, where's your like the guy was Mexican, he didn't even know English, but he knew I needed a backpack vacuum, and I didn't. He was like, "Where's your thing that you put on?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about, bro?" Like, I'm like, "We're talking about." I was like, "Oh snap! I do need one of those.
Right.
I probably should
Right.
have one." But yeah, my first vacuum. I think I've only told this story once, but my very first vacuum that like belonged to me didn't even belong to me. Like I paid a booster to steal one out of Walmart for me. So like that's how low I was. You know, that's how low I was and where I
Right.
started. Like I couldn't. I was like, yo, I will give you half of what it costs for you to go get me the nicest vacuum that you
Yeah.
can go and grab out of Walmart. And someone would stole one, and that was I had to get it out the mud. Like you know what I'm saying. People say
Yeah.
like I started from the bottom. Like no, I really did start from the bottom. I
Like
had to get it out.
seriously.
Like it's like that. But this is one of those industries where you can do that. Like where you will not. I'm not saying go and steal a vacuum from
Right.
Walmart. Like there's probably a way. Like my young mind made me do some stupid stuff, but like I'm sure you probably have enough for sitting around you or in your house or enough resources you can pull together to get the supplies needed to start this type of business.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think we can dispel that myth that it takes a whole bunch of capital or
No.
$20,000 to start this business. It just doesn't. It just doesn't.
No. And I'm glad you said that because me and one of my friends was talking the other day, man, and we were talking about just different, business models and strategies. And, today there's so much out there today. And I still harp over the cleaning business. Not that any of the other stuff doesn't work, but
Okay.
you can't go start any other business for the amount that you probably get network marketing, but that's not fully your business. But
Yep.
independently owned by you business for almost nothing. Real estate, you can't do it. You got to have a down payment. You got to, real estate
Yep.
gonna be tough. You got to save up for all of that, and some of the people who are
Anything.
cash flowing,
Even the
they
other
have to
service
start.
businesses.
Yeah,
You can't start a landscaping company without a lawnmower. Like you at least need a lawnmower,
you at
and that's
least need
gonna
a
run you
lawnmower.
200. So
Yep. So sweat equity, man. Sweat
yeah,
equity and a few towels. And if the
big
place
on
start running,
sweat equity.
that's all you need, man. Just sweat equity and a drive to not give up. And also I love, beginning with the end in mind. Just
Yep.
have some sort of, you know, idea of where you want this business to take you. Because nobody just grows, when you're a kid, oh, I want to start a cleaning business. Nobody,
Yeah, no
this
one
is
broke
not even
that.
that type of industry. Nobody, none of us have. I don't think any of us in the industry have ever said that. But you utilize it as a vehicle to get you to where you really want to go. And that may be freedom, it may be time freedom, and just run a business to not have to wake up and go to work every morning and get told what to do and beg for time off and all this other stuff. Or maybe to invest in real estate, as I know some of my friends did. Or maybe to, there's so many things that you can do with the business and so many routes. Maybe you want to pass it down, and leave it as a legacy. Or maybe you want to build it to sell. Maybe you want to build it, and then maybe you just want to sell it and take that capital and do whatever else you want to do with it. So it's so many different routes, man. And with the entry fee of sweat equity and a little bit of knowledge, man, you can't beat that, bro. Like you just said, even landscaping, you got to have lawnmowers, you got to have tools and supplies. Man, we have the lowest barrier to entry, bro. Like,
Yeah, and most of our and in commercial specifically, most of our customers already have the tools. Like, so like you could. That's why I'm like, people are like, "Oh, yeah, I want to start a cleaning company, but residential seems easier or cheaper." I'm like, man, commercial, like most of the accounts that I have, they started with stuff, a closet full of stuff. Like, yeah, eventually I'll come in there and I'll buy my own things for the things that I like to use. But like when people start businesses, they're just excited as we are about having a new business. So they go and they fill up all their closets with all the cleaning stuff that they could possibly stick in a janitorial's closet. That's something they'd never use. And usually that stuff's just there, and they're just waiting for a cleaner to come and grab it and use it because they know they run a business, so they're ready for that part. But they're just as excited as we are. I opened this office. I went and filled it up with stuff that I haven't touched since we moved in here. But I was just excited to have an office, so I'm getting pens, and I haven't written something down in 10 years, and I bought 3 packs of pens to have in the office for no fucking reason. Like, people just are like that. But
facts. That's exactly how it is. Yep.
yeah. Usually don't need a lot of. Doesn't take a lot of capital. Doesn't take a lot of like money. You can really get into get into this business and get right to it, and especially leaning on something like sales. Like if you can sell, you can get your money up front. You can get whatever you need after you close your first deal and you get that money, you get to go shopping for your business. Kind of my favorite
Absolutely.
thing. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
So a little bit more on the hard times. Can you tell me a time? Can you recall a time where you feel like you were in this business and it wasn't going to work? Did you feel like was there ever any doubt in your mind or a spot that you feel like, man, this might not actually work out?
Hell yeah, man. It's been a few times, but one that I always reflect on is there was a time it was when I first started too. Man, I was so I did the dumb move. I quit my job like cold turkey, right? I quit my job to hop full fledged into this thing, man. That was just how fed up I was with corporate, how bad I wanted it, how bad I wanted to, run my own shop. So, and I was just willing to take on whatever came with that, man. And man, I came across a hard time, bro. Like it was a hard patch. And this was early in the beginning. And it's a lifestyle change when you leaving, a 6-figure job to go on to start a cleaning business. And I wasn't the type that just save a lot of money. That wasn't me, man. If I got it, I'm gonna spend it. But that's how it was back at the time. So, man, I was just on hard times, man. And I quit my job right after we had our first daughter, right? So, dumb move there. Benefits, all that stuff, medical, all that, just out the window. It's just like, let's get this business going. I need more. So, fell on hard times, man. I was trying to buy some diapers, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I was like $2 or $3 short, and I didn't even have $2 or $3 to buy my daughter some diapers, bro. And I'm in the damn, I had too much pride then, to ask anybody for money. So I'm like, damn, did I make the right move? Did I make the right decision? So you get these things going through your mind mentally, and you like, damn, I fucked up. I should have kept my job and tried to build it on the side or something like that, So I always reflect back to that, man. And I was in the aisle, in the store. I was in the aisle, dude, and tears started to shed down my eye because I was like $3 short. I'm like, bro. And what it was I was waiting on an invoice to be paid. And so it's like I got money. I got $270 coming. Like I just don't know when.
Don't know when it's coming.
You know what I mean?
What's
So,
on the way?
bro, so I'm like, these efforts did not pay the invoice, you know. And that was when I first got in the game, you know, on the residential side. I didn't know about holding their card, you know, or some people take the payment up front or half the payment up front. I didn't even do deposit. This when I first got in the game. I just expected people to pay when the services is rendered, you know,
Yep.
and I leave the house, you know, I gotta go on to my next one. So I ain't got time to be so
Yeah, chasing behind the money you supposed
yeah,
to give me
chasing
anyway.
behind money. I just thought people would just automatically send it, bro. And then I was calling and not answering the phone because they were at work, you know, and they couldn't answer the phone at work. And it was just something as simple as they were at work and they
Yeah,
didn't, you know, they just didn't pay. It wasn't that they weren't going to pay or didn't have, you know. So it was stuff like that I didn't even know about. I'm like, God damn. So I said, we got to fix this quick. So after that, start doing deposits. You know, start doing deposit. Everybody got to put down a deposit if you want to book the appointment and all that type of stuff, man. So cash flow issues are common, man, and even you know at high levels of income, you know there can be cash flow issues, and I'm
absolutely.
glad that I did have the experience in corporate because those same guys that I was in, you know, boardrooms with, you know, meeting with, who had these huge companies that they built, even they have cash flow issues.
Hmm.
So, and when I was in sales at ADP, the payroll company, you know, I saw some of everything. You know, it was that was like the number one small business problem was cash flow. Like, hey, we need this amount of cash, right? We have this amount of cash coming in from our clients, but it comes in at different times, and we have this many, you know, this much in expenses, and this has to go out. We
Yeah,
got payroll that has to go out
has
at this time.
has to.
But this may not go out at the same time that those invoices are coming in. So we have
Yep,
to be able to fill the gaps. So
manage that.
that's one of the things that actually kept me going. So I'm like, look, when I was talking to all those $100 million companies and, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, $70 million companies, and they had cash flow issues, I
Yeah, so
can't beat
you
myself
like
up.
you can't be beating yourself up when
It's a
you're
part
a
of
small
business.
business. Like
That's
yeah,
a
of
part of
course.
business. That's a small businesses, and I hate the term small business, but essentially that's what we are. You know, that's one of the
Well, yeah,
biggest
that's
problems.
because big business in America means you're making $200 million.
Right,
You know, so
right, exactly,
like yeah,
exactly.
cool. Yeah,
Under
I'm
that, you
definitely a
small
small business.
business.
Yeah, like yeah, I
Yeah,
don't make 200 M's, my guy. I can't.
right,
Like I haven't got there yet. No. So yeah,
exactly.
still small
Yep.
business. I think
So,
small business is not like the
mhm,
official qualification is under 10 million is still a small. Like
yeah,
anybody under 10 million is a small business.
yep,
That's everybody, bro.
right.
That's like six people
That's
over
like
10 million.
90% of businesses. Yep. Yeah, man. But that was a time, man. That was a time that I would never forget, bro. I will never forget that situation, man. I
Yeah,
definitely
that I
wanted to
mean,
give up.
cash flow. Speaking of cash flow issues, like I I started it from a very difficult place, but I think it taught me so much, and it really cemented the way that I do business in a good way that I didn't even realize it was at the time that I was kind of getting started, starting from being homeless and started from having absolutely no real financial education or financial literacy. Uh, I've never had cash flow issues. Like I've been lucky in that sense, but I think it's because I started as a homeless man. Like well, obviously I can't. I already don't have cash. I can't have cash flow issues because I don't have any cash to start off with. And so, and my personal finance journey began at the same time as my business finance journey. And so I began applying the same strategies and concepts to my business finances as I did to my personal finances at the same time. I kind of knew from the beginning, all right, we're gonna separate the business and personal. I'm gonna manage them both the same way. And before then, I was never big on saving money. I literally never saved a dime in my life up until I started my business and I got my first client. And then from there, I kind of following the. I don't know if you ever heard of Dave Ramsey?
Hmm.
Dave,
Yeah.
yeah, so I started following like Dave Ramsey because I was like deeply in debt, and that's all I could really think about. And he was really big on like getting people out of debt. I don't agree with everything Dave Ramsey says about debt, but I do like when if you the less you can have, the better. To be honest with you, I'm not saying go completely zero debt and have no cut up your credit cards like he does, but like if you can get rid of as much debt as you can, it's gonna make it easy for you. You don't have those payments going out. you can apply for, you're gonna get approved for things a little bit easier and things like that. So, but I was big on in the beginning, saving money, having that emergency fund, and having that big stack of cash reserves to fall back on. And so all of my businesses and every business that I've started ever since then have been cash positive, except for this tech company, which is draining my pockets right now. This app is draining my pockets right now because tech is just a little bit different. Tech, you always kind of start in the red, but service businesses, any other service that I provide, we've always been in the black, starting day one, especially in janitorial. I've gotten paid up front because I had to. Like, I didn't have any choice. I had to get paid up front, otherwise I don't eat. So, but I've kept that structure of my business in all of my businesses throughout, and that's something